What?
I'll be
Okay,
back.
can you? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 146 episodes of DevKami, and I'm Leong, and we have
And I am Tristan, and
yeah,
we lost swimming just
we
now
assuming due to some
due to
hardware technicalities.
technical. mm,
Yeah.
which is
So
why I don't use Bluetooth, especially on important stuff. I just don't
yeah,
trust
I don't
uh,
like it as well.
wireless stuff.
So what's
What,
gonna
what- but
happen is
while we're checking with swimming, what microphone are you using? Because he just got the microphones. That's why he's getting all of these technical difficulties.
yeah,
Microphone.
he's just got his new set of microphone.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a
what
pretty
about
cheap.
you?
I'm
Which
using
one
a
are you
Rode.
using? A Rode.
Uh,
Which
yeah.
which
I forgot the model. It's a NT01A, something like that.
did it come with your pop filter, or did you
Yeah, it
buy it
comes
separately?
together. It's the
Hmm?
package. You can choose the basic one, but there's an option with everything, if I remember correct.
Including the foam.
No, no,
The
I
foam
bought it
one?
separately.
Okay. And do you have a dead cat on included, or you
No,
don't need a dead cat, right? Because
no, the foam is actually I don't need it for the pop. It's just my room is pretty dusty. It's
ah.
more like a dust cap.
Okay.
Because I don't want the sensor within itself is got dirty.
Mm. I'm using an H2N, and if you remember, I was asking about digital DACs, right?
Yeah,
Apparently, the H2N can work as a DAC as well. It's quite
nice.
good. It's as good as uh, the Shanling that I was using, and I didn't have to install drivers because this is an old mic. So apparently, Windows already knows this. You can output sounds through here if you put in
We
uh,
we got
the
uh,
earphones. So I have quite a good studio earphone. It's actually quite good. The DAC. Swimming
Okay.
is back, still having mic difficulties.
Yes.
No, not
So I
anymore.
can
I
talk
think we
now.
can hear you now.
Okay.
okay.
So I'm literally making out with my mic,
Oh,
very inappropriate.
yeah. Basically, that's what you need to do with the
Yeah,
condenser.
that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So
It,
let's. Have
you
you
hear
covered
fine from me
events?
because I yell to the mic literally.
Yeah.
You know how
Okay.
loud I can speak physically.
Mhm.
Yes, I know. So have
So
you
that's
covered events?
oh, not
No,
yet.
not yet. We're waiting for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
this happening just now.
yeah. Gonna use
If you
we're gonna
cover
use
it.
our screen because there's not much going on. So
Yep.
happening just now was the Junior Dev My Talk,
Yep.
and this weekend, there are two events. One is a takeout,
Yep.
the
Yep.
the September one,
Yep.
and PyCon is happening this Saturday as well.
Yep.
So tickets are still selling. So if you're interested, I'm gonna just share it.
Yep.
And they are still looking for volunteers. So
Yep.
feel free to ping me. At least like I'll be the messenger. I'm not really involved in organizing, but
Yep.
you guys can contact me if you guys are
Correct.
interested.
The topic is not too bad. Seriously, it's pretty
And
good.
it's a pretty good lineup.
Yes. So it's more balanced because we used to have like more data, which is fine. But now we also have testing and what other things. So I think it's pretty good icon.
Yeah. Check out the two things. If you're interested, check it out.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And that concludes. Oh, I think not gonna happen. Oh no, not gonna happen. Nothing is another week. Not gonna happen for Golang Monday unless there's
Mm,
some people that there's a topic that people want to know about.
Yeah.
I think probably before I think the next version of Golang we gonna have a generic. Then probably we're gonna have one about it.
Yeah.
when is generic going on two, or still? Is
The
it going to
two
be backported at one?
the story about Golang is the two is like it's one of the name it's one of the goal they say it's it's kind of something that kind of break something, but apparently they try to achieve generic without breaking it. So 2 was like the eternal milestone for them, like really ambitious kind of changes to the language itself. So they name it 2 that way. It's not 2 is not a number. It's not like the change with Python 2 to 3 or like the Scala one, or the I think Ruby also, like they're gonna be there is gonna be some 2 gonna release soon. It's just a milestone with ambitious goals lah, with other features, ambitious features that community might want. But they put it under 2, so as perpetually that some version and certain stage that they need to break the backwards compatibility, and they're gonna be 2 release lah. But right now, it's just a bunch of milestones.
Yeah. With that said, let's talk about Bus Corner.
Hey,
It's
what-
actually
Yeah.
pretty heavy news.
This
Yeah.
is pretty grammar mistake. Grammar base is racist.
What?
No, the grammar of the second one, super base, is racist. 13 mil.
Oh, my English is not my first language.
That's so like all your base is belong to me or to us.
Yeah. So there's big fixes for Golang
Yeah.
for 117 and 116. It's actually a memory panic caused by the Joseph archetype.
Yeah.
So it's a buffer overflow in short.
It's very
So-
interesting to sometimes read some of the language, the security patches, because they cover the kind of like security breaches that we might overlook also. So it's a
Correct.
good way to learn about security stuff, like what might be the vector as well.
Correct. So next one is super base. Have no relation with my employer, by the way. If you know who my employer is. So we interviewed them before, right? Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we-
Firebase open source Firebase alternative.
Correct. So they raises Series A funding for $50 million US. Yeah, good for them. Congratulations. And if you're interested, look it up.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yep, they're cool people as well.
Correct. Next one is good thing I have a New York Times subscription. Move on. Google orders Apple to ease restriction on app developer. This is actually for payment. So they allow Epic to have their own payment for apps.
So it means they now open up, so you don't have to. If you need to do payment, you don't have to really go through Apple for now.
Correct.
Well, you can not go through Apple. It's just that Apple doesn't like you to put a button that takes that asks for payment outside of Apple Pay. I think that was the point
Correct.
there.
And also, there is the same judgment in Korea and Japan that requires Apple to allow third-party payment. But it's not actually a strong case against antitrust investigation. This is not a strong judgment in the way that the judge do agree that Apple have the right to control the ecosystem tightly to avoid, in some way, yes, to avoid fraud, but there's nothing about the consequences. So this is nothing like AT&T. This is nothing like all the antitrust suit in the 1910s. So yeah. So but you have more options, but think about it. So it's you want to do payment, Apple and Google is the trusted source, but if there's something that you make on judgment, so make on call that. Anything else you want to add on that?
No.
I have my opinion on antitrust issue when it comes to Apple that control too many things, but that's me.
My concern is actually it's not something that some of these are for granted.
Yeah.
If we're gonna discuss this, it's gonna take one one of our session too.
Correct. It will be one whole episode because antitrust issue is
I can't say Apple is all in the wrong, but
yeah,
I can say it's not exactly black and white in this case.
correct. There's consequences. What kind of consequences do you want? We are more on the Beijing part, but let's move on to the next one. So Facebook engineering shows how they do end-to-end encryption on backups. So so they essentially a lot of key exchange. Then how do you store your files and whatnot?
It's
Pretty interesting
transparent, so we don't feel like it, but the tech behind is pretty challenging.
Yes,
I'm
because
not sure if it's
uh-huh,
from WhatsApp about like a voice call with more than one person. One to
yeah,
one is easy, but one to many is another challenging stuff
correct.
to do.
Yes, which is why encryption things like PGP audit is very hard to use. You have to exchange files for security.
Well,
Just
but
Sometimes
they make it
transparent.
all look so easy.
Yeah,
can't you
correct.
just use like something like a 5 minute load balancer and go with the
Not really.
multi? No, you
That
can't
is still
use your
central.
load
Like
balancer.
that is not end to end.
Yeah,
So yeah, Beijing
so
is try to break up their own big tech as well, not just for Alipay.
correct, correct. So
It's
again,
better to break it up as early as possible before like people start relying on them, because once people start relying on such a huge service, they become
Yep.
too powerful. It's harder to break up.
uh,
That's
actually in China they are already relying. So there is a big consolidation sometime back. As a result, their biggest food delivery company have been making pretty bad call charges. So the restaurants, the food vendors have to make some pretty unjustifiable costs that they pay the company a bit quite heavily to deliver food. So in China, it already happened. It's pretty big already, and
there's a
people do rely on
saying
that.
actually,
Yeah,
for China is that because even though the China is a pretty like a state with a lot of control over things, but a lot of their
yeah,
stuff are not well defined in terms of like
yes,
regulation.
correct,
So the saying that last time the one that I heard last time was we like people need to innovate faster than the government,
correct,
so they can have more say when the government try to regulate it. But
correct,
apparently it doesn't work that well as well in this case.
correct. Just remember that it's one of those things that's not very clear cut because in this case, there's good and bad as well. So the good thing is, in this case, the company is in the wrong, but politically it's a bit more complicated. This is another story altogether.
Mm.
But for consumer right, it's not a bad thing, unlike the US. So yeah, again, if we're going to talk about antitrust, it'll be another story on in
Yeah, we're gonna have
another
another
episode.
episode about it.
Correct. So the uh, the AWS, the Azure Linux agent actually causing vulnerabilities, unauthorized code execution. Uh, they have been fixed, but it's pretty bad. So update when you can. I know not none of us actually use Azure, but just Solar. So I think that's about it. That's about it. Anything to add? Any news that
Not really. It's pretty much slow for on my part.
ac- actually
Same here.
actually there's quite a lot of thing on Bus Corner, but uh, I've been filtered quite a lot of it to be honest. So
Bangladesh is
let's
trying to implement something like the GDPR.
correct.
Yeah, CMB went down.
See,
Uh,
so
it's not just a website. It's that even ATM were you cut, and also like credit card transaction were down as well. It seems like everything was down.
Mm.
correct.
Did they publish like a debriefing?
I don't know. It just I didn't
No,
actually follow up.
yeah. Then I also if you on iOS update your OS because there is a big fixes for the long-term availability. I didn't put that
Well,
because
if,
I'm not a go on.
when if you're on iOS, update your iPhone.
Yeah.
There's a new iPhone 13 apparently, a new iPad
Yeah.
Mini, and a new what they
Yeah.
call it, Apple Watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
they did an
there's a lot of
announcement.
jokes. Like I didn't actually follow some of the all these tech gadgets news, but even from third party, third hand
Mhm. Mhm. Sources.
information is that there's a lot of joke about the latest 13 that it didn't change much.
Yeah.
Apparently, the gap, what do you call it? The notch
Yeah.
is
It's now small.
a lot smaller, like a
It's not
few
small.
millimeters, maybe 1 millimeter small,
Yeah,
thinner, I guess.
yeah, but the phone diameter also get larger a bit this time. I think
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
I didn't
So
actually went to verify. Just heard it from hands.
yeah, I didn't check follow because I just don't use Apple. I don't have to use it, so that's fine.
No, I don't
So
even
let's
follow Android.
huh?
I don't follow anything.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, it's the
I'm in
same.
I'm living in a cave.
Yeah. So let's start. Last week I was promising that I'm going to talk about individual tool. I'm going to a segue for now. In fact, I'm going a bit. I don't just go segue. I'm going to a subset, right? A subset. So what do I mean? So this Rasa. Rasa is actually I do not know how they pronounce it because this is definitely not a
Rasa,
Malaysian
like
project.
tabula rasa.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. So Rasa is actually an open source assistant platform. I really call it platform because though Rasa is tend to be end to end, right? That the target for Rasa is mostly for chatbots, but you can use it with voice and whatnot, but it's just not their thing lah. So first thing is the instruction sucks because uh, according to here, pip works. Pip doesn't work. You need to run this on. You need to run this within Anaconda environment to work. Attention on Ubuntu, pip alone doesn't work. I can tell you that. But within Anaconda it works. The reason is they rely on TensorFlow, and some of the code doesn't work with the latest stable version of TensorFlow. Whereas Anaconda, they kind of lock it down a bit. So I believe this is the case now. It's a voice assistant platform. Apparently, it can do voice, but I can't find the example because the example here is mostly for chat. Mostly for chat. But this one is different from voice to JSON in the way that voice to JSON, uh, voice to JSON tends to provide individual component for you to integrate later. And this one is also unlike REST in the way that uh, this is more end to end in the way that they also provide response. So you can implement response within the framework, and you can return response within the framework. So what do I mean by that? So you can write custom function that let's say query a database and return a response, or you can just use the existing functionality and return a response. You can do end to end, but you can also use it as a component, as I will show later, but I didn't test it yet. Uh, this thing works well. They have a library for Twilio and whatnot, but people actually do use this uh, for Discord. I saw that Telegram and whatnot, but you do not need to do that. So and one more thing that this doesn't provide unlike RustP is RustP that they tend to end at providing a message, sending the message to MQTT. This one doesn't. What this one does is it works better when you have things end to end, with the return response and all that. So this is more complete, but this doesn't by default. By default, it doesn't handle voice. So it doesn't do speech to text and text to speech. But once you have that, then it's reasonably easy for you to integrate because it's just text, right? And we provide API for integration. So anything else you know before we go and get our hand dirty?
Yeah,
If
let's do it.
not, let's do it. So if you want to try, here's what I suggest. You go to Rasa Docs. Oh yeah, by the way, Rasa actually is a commercial product. There's two products. There's an enterprise product and an open source product. So when I talk about Rasa, I'm talking about the open source, Rasa open source. Uh, there's also Rasa X. This is not an open source product, uh, but it has more capability. So I won't cover that because I want to focus on open source side. But this one can do more. This one can do a lot more than the open source one. So playground. Here's the cool thing about the playground, and this actually shows you what you need to do. So the first one is the NLU data. I will show you the actual file data. Like chatbot I talked about, you have I talked about the 5 components last time. This one it doesn't provide the speech to text, but it does provide intent. So intent system. So intent here is like a tag of grid. So intent of grid. Here's the full example. So this is very different from sentence.ini that is used by voice to JSON and RASP. So this one you actually in a YAML file, and it's going to show you an example for it. And for very good reason. RASP have tendency to be a bit more regex and fuzzy matching type. This one actually uses neural networks to actually match text. So which is why you can do something like this. Example.com, I will do the example later. And you do not need to specifically match example.com. You can use your email and it will do the right thing. So you can set your intent here. Then you can set up your response. So this is the thing that RASP and voice to JSON doesn't provide. It's something that you have to roll your own. So in this case, you will tag up your text, like what is your text, and you can text multiple text so that you can randomly choose and delete. Then you can set up story. What story here means is that it's a step-to-step process. So first, intent, you greet, you say hello. Then the action, the bot will return greetings to you. Then you tell them, I want to subscribe to a newsletter. Action, then action here means it's a form. So there's a type of action called form which takes some value. Then after that, then they will run through form. Then this is the actual definition if you do use a form. Form here means you need to get information from the chat. Then of course then you have rules. Rules here is different than story in a way that when you see a rules, this must happen. So if you want to subscribe email, give them the email quote unquote form. Then within a loop. Once you submit the form, then you no more loop. Then tell them you'll be subscribed. So let's use it. So what you do is you just train. This is not the actual. This is not actual. This is not an actual interface for Rasa, but this is an example. The text and all that is the same, and you can edit it when you need it. So let's say something hello. So let's go through the happy flow. I want to subscribe to the newsletter. Email. So here's the email.com. See, notice that I did not actually tag a template or even had a specific thing called swimming at email.com with the data. That will actually handle it. Then what I do is thanks. Let's start with by, right? I is confused. So and I order a pizza. So that is confused. So here's the catch about this bot system before you unleash it to the wild. It's very context specific, and you can easily confuse the system because this is neural network, and we don't have the message, we don't have knowledge to the world. And also, unlike I strongly suspect that Rasa do not actually use open AI because it will be too expensive for them for open source projects, so they can only use things like Isla. So what else can I do? Let's order. How are you? So also because it's the end of the flow, that's it. So this is actually part of the what we call the dialogue management. Dialogue management. So three things: they provide intent, dialogue, and the actual thing is the response and the integration. So yeah. So and you can actually download whatever thing that you want. So I will share the link, Telegram link later. It's actually pretty cool. But to install, it's pretty easy, except I switch to the Windows. So let me switch to another Windows. Stop. Share. So anything you're curious about before I go on?
Nope.
Pretty
I'm
straightforward,
just
right?
curious.
But
Yeah, I'm just curious.
amazing.
Like that particular website, is it running the service in one of their backends, or did you have to
Very
run?
likely.
Uh,
It's very likely. I do not run anything locally. Everything is
Okay.
behind the scenes. So they do
Mm.
something there.
So it's very easy to get started because you can actually run it like
Correct.
directly on that site.
Correct. Let's call it Rasa. Okay, I put everything on master chat, but just because. Then here's the funny thing. I'm not going to use the virtual environment because it doesn't work. So of course, all you need to do is click install Rasa. I already did that. I already installed. So and as you notice, the install TensorFlow or not.
It works. Does it work on vanilla Python?
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's one of the things
What-
that I have to issue with a lot of
What
these
what's
libraries. That
what's vanilla Python and how is it
means
different from?
because a lot of these libraries requires actually at least from Anaconda in order to work.
Yeah, correct.
So it's silly,
Anaconda is
like
different from Python?
it's Anaconda is another package Python. So Python from the website, I mean the original one that we can download from the python.org website is the what I call vanilla Python. So it's funny that a lot of these machine learning stuff
Data
that
science.
actually
Yeah,
that don't work well on vanilla. it's
correct.
like certain, if like let's say you want to use Rails, right, you cannot use the Ruby from the Ruby website itself. You have to download it from a third party packager.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
But
interesting.
I suspect it's because a lot of these tools have compiled component. So as a result,
I understand that, but at least it's option to do it ourselves without just
And- and-
using our faith.
What's the difference between the two that makes them incompatible with each other?
I strongly
What is
suspect that
Hmm?
Anaconda locked down the version of things like TensorFlow. So now this TensorFlow. So okay, I'm going to show you this. The current stable for TensorFlow is
Wait.
2.6.
So Anaconda doesn't work with pip then?
Anaconda uses their own packaging.
Oh.
I mean they are a package manager itself, and also they have their own repository for these things.
Got it.
Correct.
It's very silly. It's like it's a very silly parallel world.
Mhm.
Correct. So
Yeah, but
TensorFlow now is 2.6. Now it's 2.3. The one in Anaconda that they installed is 2.3.4.
Anaconda is very convenient to use for non-programmer people that want to start doing Python.
Mhm.
It's because you can download everything. I mean, if you install package via Anaconda, it's just done for you without having to worry about, let's say, Postgres driver. Then you have to worry that your libc, all those things are right.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but it created a parallel world because it's so convenient to use. So a lot of these packages just optimize for Anaconda,
Got it.
Correct.
which
So
actually irks me a lot.
Mhm.
yes, it's annoying as hell, but it is what it is. I'm going to show you how it works, then you figure out the rest later. So to use Anaconda is pretty easy. And lots of documentation. God damn it. I've done this before. So what you do is help. So once you install that, you will get a set of command. So init is where you start a project, but I already start one for you already. It's called Engineers One, right? So models is of course your TensorFlow model, the neural network model. Your credential if you need it, but you also have configuration. But the core thing is you would have your actions, your models, your tests, and whatnot. Okay. So let's start with the thing that you need to configure step by step. So let's say you want to, and let's say the scenario here that I use is I introduce a new intent called tag events. I have another one called get time, but more on that later. Tag event. So I create tag events. This can be arbitrary tags. Then I set an example. That I can think of. I think more example is better, but I didn't test that much. So once I'm done with this YAML, which is very cool, then I need to set up the rules. And in this case, I take a shortcut instead of sorry, I set up rules. So if I ask for tag event, talk about calendar link, after calendar link. Where's calendar link? Not that later. Then in this case, I don't have stories, but I have story at tell time, more on that later. So then the next thing I want to show you is domain. Domain. So domain is, notice that I have to register the intent, so take events and get time later. Then you want to utter, you want to speak standard, you want to just have the response without writing extra code. This is what you have. And you can, as I showed the example just now, you can have multiple. In
Are
fact,
you
you can
going
have
to? Are you going to deploy it to the Telegram or Discord or Slack?
I'm planning it, but I don't know how to do the integration yet. I know it works because they have an API. So
Mm.
yes, it would work, but I do not know how yet. I don't have strong idea how yet. So then, even before you can test, you do Rasa train. I did train something just now so that will ignore this. I think it might be fast on my computer because I use
You have a fast
uh,
computer.
I have a old NVIDIA card run that is able to run TensorFlow training. So once you train, then you can test. So the cool thing is about this is by default you can test it on shell, but you can and should able to test this on Discord, Telegram, or whatnot. And because of the intent stuff, you can actually do quite impressive stuff. Uh, yep. Yeah, I know. Don't be annoying. You're a chatbot, not a maker. Okay, so hello. Let's do a typo. So notice that the understand a typo. So what the next event? So this is the I don't know, but you can find the event at the. So this is the can response. This is the can response that I actually do. So then here's a text, right? And I order a burger. It will be confused because none of these exists.
is there a way to set a catch all like something like else case or otherwise case?
Oh, notice that they actually say an unexpected intent. I believe this is for that reason. So they have an unexpected intent. I do not believe there is a catch all. I don't
Like
believe that.
no, it's a like else or otherwise case.
I do not believe there is a, such a thing too, because this alone is a big if else actually. There's no default. There's no default. I just check the docs. I will show you the website. You know what? I should. Never mind. Let me do that later. Then you want to do this yes slash step. Okay, so this is a can text, but here's the more interesting one. So type is a very dynamic. Type is actually a very dynamic system, right? So you can actually use a program. This is called actions. There is default actions, but this one what I want to show here is actually uh, custom action. So just now in the demo, there is actually action called form. So those are an action. Uh, and all the response, those are default actions. So this one is just an example for a custom action. So custom action is you need to be in this form, you need to enter the name, then you need to set up, then you need to tell them to run, then you use this function to return a text. So between now and this thing here, this is how you actually set up the logic. So the logic here can be things like query from your database. So let's say I want to have a very smart event system. So what I would do is, I would query from Google Calendar, fetch the item, do some magic, and push that.
What's the return the list from the return? Is it gonna be
So uh, this actually returns to slots and whatnot. So this list here are meant to be used by Rasa to actually populate some field because there is some default field in the list format.
okay?
So they do have those kind of thing. I will show you the documentation from that so they have some idea. And to do this, you need to do.
So this is not the final one. It's just the the final one is they're gonna execute some other calls.
Correct. Correct. In practice, you will do a lot more things than just get a time. You will actually, the reason why you want a custom action is so that you can query for your databases and different things. Those are more meaningful and the actual use case for this kind of thing. Of course, you can use it to do a version of the Discord had a Rasa bot. So you want to do it Rasa, you do it in custom as a custom action.
I think it would be fun to test it against one of our friends.
So notice that action type is what I created, the name. So this is how I register it, and retain data. Let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna put it in NLU. I don't remember. I just learned this in one afternoon, by the way.
Let me guess, this afternoon.
Yeah. Too off, right? I'm sorry. Okay, then I just create a story then. So I just create a story called tell time. This can be anything. Greet, say hello, then return, then get time is the intent that I created just now. Let's say that what time is it and whatnot. Then I call the action. So the action here is the action that I register.
Mm.
So then, just to remind people where does get time is here. I just have very simple sections.
Is there a way to reuse portions of a story? Because it might be a bit tedious to define
Maybe
stories
yes.
if we just small things changing between them.
Uh, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. But there is good reason to do both. Uh, Yes, they provide that. The reason is so they can have a TV story. No, it's because the interaction for a chatbot should not be too long. So they both have the story lah. To use this, first I have to. I wonder if I can run Rasa. Oh no. First I want to on the activate chatbot. Rasa an action. Give me a moment. I did this in the morning. Actually, I totally forgot how. No. La 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 la. Installation command line interface. Command line interface. Rasa run action. So I need to run an action server, which is part of the SDK. Then I need to okay. If you're running it for first time, then you have to configure it by uncommenting these two lines. Now I can touch it on shell. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to do. So notice the connector argument. This one is where you because different. So the connector here is things like Telegram, Discord, and whatnot. So it works, but I do not know the integration well yet, to be honest. So I'm going to say what time is it? What time is it? So this is the thing that I get from the time lah.
What if
Well,
like what time now?
Yeah, or just
what-
time.
Just time.
Now.
No, that's just now. Just now.
Yeah. Time.
Now. Time.
Yeah.
Time
Mhm.
broadband. Time broadband.
Sorry. Wait, let me do the normal one first.
We're doing fuzzing.
Mhm.
So see, because of this, you can see
What's
first
the date?
confusion.
Yeah. No, time broadband. Just two word. Time broadband. I think you just recognize. No, you don't need what is. Just.
So you get the context.
It just means that it seeps through lah. So we have to cover some of the cases.
Correct.
If you
I also
need it.
suspect that they may not use a transformer model as well. So I strongly suspect that, but I don't have evidence. But let's say
I think it's fine. It can be used with a combination of other leaps as well, right?
Correct. I suspect that you can. I suspect that you can, but I don't know yet, to be honest. Because when I look at the training library, let me stop it. I almost read like killing satanic server. Let me switch to the documentation. Stop screen, share, share screen, window, command line. I do not believe you can change. You can change. Oh yeah, there's connector, so you can use Telegram, but they don't do Discord. Interestingly, you can do yourself. I do not believe you can use other. Or you can. You can send the response somewhere. I do not know how yet. You can even just use this for intent recognition alone. So I have an example for that on voice to JSON. Recipes. They do a lot more stuff, but you can you can just use the Rasa system to run other things. You can only use it. I can just use the intent recognition system. So in a way that you can use it for the other thing, but I do not know whether it's possible to use things like OpenAI, GPT-3, the GPT-3 from OpenAI, or whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know if you can, to be honest. But but I think it's interesting. You can tweak your own thing and get it work. You can use custom channel. This is where you're going to do you're likely going to do your phone, your Discord and whatnot. So yeah, this is Rasa. What you guys think? Interesting? Not so
Yeah.
interesting.
Actually, I actually shared it to the
Mm.
colleague.
And this
Yeah.
is easier to configure than the previous one, just probably
Correct.
because it's everything is together.
Correct. So if you want a chatbot, this is the one that you may want. There may be other library, so you have to choose. If there's something that looks better, maybe this. One thing
Mm.
I would want to find out in the future is how well does this work with other type of neural network. So for example, let's say you have in practice, let's say you do have OpenAI subscription, can you use it with this? So, or can you use this with uh, Hugging Face? Do you know what is Hugging Face?
No.
I'm going to show you what is Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a research platform.
Oh, okay. I thought it's the Facebook emoticon, like the hug.
It's already one of the first thing they do. One of the first thing they do is they had text to
Yeah, this one.
emoji,
Hugging face.
text to
It's like a
emoji.
face hugger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Face
an
hugger.
alien.
So one of the early model is about building a text to emoji AI lah. So, but this one, they actually had API for your text services. So you can actually use it to train language. In fact, Malaya by Hussein actually had something that's compatible with Hugging Face. So OpenAI, Hugging Face, and whatnot. So I do not know whether they can interface with this. So yeah, I don't know if we can, but if we can, that would be really interesting because there is actually this is actually one of my concern lah, because you got better models nowadays, but they have some reasonably good one because by default they use Spacey, and Spacey always keep improving themselves. So
So
yeah,
one of these days they're gonna go sentient and talk to your kids.
yes. Unfortunately, you do not need AI to talk to the kids because kids are just talk to machine and screen and logo, and they do not know how to talk to human
Like
anymore.
hugging face.
Yes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's about it. If I'm going to integrate a bot, I think I'm going to use Rasa instead of voice to JSON, because there's a clear part. There's actually a clear part to integrate to a chat service. So this is actually the main reason.
Yep. It interests me
So
as
yeah,
well. So I need to check it out.
correct. So it's called Malay Hugging Face. Let me open this. This is actually from Hussein. From me. Let me search in the safe.
You're not gonna
I'm not going to share. I'm not going to share my core URL.
in case.
Never. Oh, actually, there is English one. Uh, Let me share that first. But actually, I want. Here you are. Habis tak ada dah. Tak ada dah. Okay, it's here. And for
So
Malaysia,
what's next? The next version of a walking face gonna be like a chest buster. Sorry. Sorry.
so this is the Malay hugging face. Uh, so as
Oh,
a
okay.
Malaysian, today is Malaysia Day. You should support Malaysian product and you should go to
Mm.
hugging face slash Malay hugging face. We will share later in our show notes. So anything else? Oh yeah, by the way, all these machine learning, all these text model have tendency to be English focused. English focused. So it may be a problem. It may be a problem. You want to do a multilingual thing. But maybe there's a part for it. I need to find out further. I do not know whether there's a part to do that yet. So if you are English speaker like us, awesome.
Yeah.
So something that,
No, or you're not English speaker like swimming.
yeah, I'm not. English is not my first language. So yeah, I know right, Hussein. I know. Oh, I know, right? It happens to
Mm.
all of us. I have distractions, so okay. I think that's about it. We may end early unless there's questions. Do you have a question?
No, well, how would you adapt Rasa to respond to Malay text?
I don't know. The question is I don't know.
Because Rasa would have been like a Malay word, right?
It could be a Greek word. Tabula rasa is a Greek
Yeah, I
word.
mean that's how
Rasa
do you
is
call this?
the Latin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. The
so
answer
it
is
would be
I don't
nice if
know.
it can be adapted.
Correct, but we should learn to do our chat as well because
Although
Hussein have this
maybe
priority.
yeah, maybe that
What?
would be a bad idea because uh, Lazada would have that really bad chatbot from. I wonder if they still have it.
I think
Um,
having more language support is a good thing because uh, okay, more opportunity for us. So it's a selfish reason.
I think it's just a lead. It just buys some lead time for
Yeah,
support, but it's not like
Yeah, correct.
the end for support.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
because
Yeah.
you
and
said just
it's
now.
so. For
Mhm.
example, the like more languages actually might be a bit like killing the opportunities for chatbots to be better. Like the best chatbots right now still cannot really like cannot properly do complex customer support interactions. And then you have support for multiple languages, which probably will like the effort might have been better spent on making something actually with better responses, right?
That's a theory, but the practice is a bit more complicated than nuances. So linguists actually try to do something like this. They actually ask the question, what if there's only one language? In the end of the day, what really happened is a bigger picture. There's nuances that they cannot able to capture if they just do
There's
by
no
one
one
language.
language as well because language is always
Correct,
evolving.
correct.
So
Uh, and
even there's
and
gonna be one, you're gonna become more later.
Correct. So here's another example. Man, linguistic is one of my favorite topic. I know I talked to a girl about linguistics so much I forget to ask for her email. She's cute. Long story. Let's not go there. Linguistics. Linguistics. So let's talk about the story of Babel. It's not a story about Babel. It's more of like this. In the 1950s, there's a thinking that language must be in certain format. As a result, it's actually before the 50s, but in these 50s, Noam Chomsky is involved in this story actually. So what happened is they go all over the world. They go all over the world, try to prove that languages have subject, verb, and this, and something around it. What they found out is that the more extreme the environment, the more unlikely the language will be in either the Chinese form or the English European form, right? because language is different. So when you go to Africa, everything breaks. Everything breaks. So that's one
I
reason why
I think
there's
it's
no single
more
one.
like standard. I think some of the bigger area they have standardization, or else like
Yeah.
similar. I think that I heard the story for, even though like originally before world, I mean before World War II, the Norwegian and the Danish, they speak the same language, Norwegian or Swedish.
Yes.
But
Yes.
after standardized, because after that they have their own standardization, and they are now pretty different. Also, like
Correct.
the story is that the North Korean and the South Korean, even though
Yes.
they speak Korean, but because of cultural changes and all the different lifestyles, and also lack of I mean interaction between, is that they develop their own uh languages. I mean they become their own languages itself.
Look at
So
Australia.
yeah, it's just, it's more like a group. If there's a lot of group of people
Yeah.
that, even like in Malaysia, I mean dialects, like the Malay dialects are pretty diverse.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when China tried to converge all into one language, it didn't work out. There's no such thing as one China. They only managed to do the right thing, and that's about it.
Yep. The writing, at least that the story of the takeaway from the, what you call it, the emperor of the first emperor of China,
Yeah.
the 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 he burned, the story is that he burned all the literature. Is the one of the
Yeah.
reason is not it, beside controlling the scholars, and also he need a tabula rasa
Yeah.
for the
So
language.
in
Yeah.
short, if we do natural language research application, research only on one language, we will miss the nuances, and this
Yeah.
actually worse than only
Yeah.
standardization and all that
And also a
because
lot of the languages in especially you like the romantic
yeah,
language, like the Latin based derived languages, even
yeah.
they derive from the same root language, but because of culture nuances and local dialects and stuff, they became their own languages over
So
time.
yeah, in short, it's hard actually. So it's better to have a language
even
model that
even if you
generalize.
start with even if you wipe it clean, like
Yeah,
literally tapar rasa,
yeah,
it gradually, like give it 1,000 years, and we gonna have a different a lot of other languages from the same root
correct,
language. Yeah.
correct. So yeah, in short, it's better to have a model that roughly generalize that than only know one thing. Focus. That's what we learn in AI actually. In the early day of AI research, we are so focused on doing one thing correct, then the system have no idea to do other things. We would have a computer that are damn good in tic-tac-toe, but they cannot do chess, for example. So we have a lot of those. So as a result, AI research
the
nowadays is
the non-tech
roughly
the
toward
non-tech
generation.
takeaway is that human being are never pure-blooded.
Correct,
We are always go around and mix around. So
correct.
yeah,
And specialization
probably
are for
I'm
insights.
I'm inserting my own propaganda here.
Mm.
Yeah. With that
Yeah.
said, next week for real, I will cover individual tools, uh, but I may skip intent recognition unless I do manage to
Is there
find it
anything
because
interesting going on this day that we could cover as well?
not really. I can't think of anything.
Like, is there a new survey or something?
No,
Mm.
I think we
Yeah,
missed
it's
the
a
last
slow.
one.
It's the COVID-19 thing makes everything just slow.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Maybe PyCon have something interesting that I'll cover. Oh yeah, they do have something. I do have a news.
Are you gonna
Uh,
attend the PyCon?
yes, I will attend PyCon, but I won't. I probably do a show if I can manage to ask people to join me in the podcast. But the next news, maybe a week or two from now, more likely the week after or the week after the period. So what happened is I'm reviewing a device. I'm reviewing a device from reasonably well-known maker electronics company. So what is that? There's a detail, but if you're on the Slack channel, you know what it is. So there will be a review, the code, and I do not know how to share it with PowerScript. I figure out. But we will have a device review that is actually much later, and that is soon, next month, end of this month or next month. So with that said, I think it's time to say goodbye. There. Shall we say goodbye? Yeah, we should say goodbye.
If you guys have any suggestion of what we should talk about,
Yes.
Mhm.
I think
Let us know.
after this, we can talk about like those antitrust stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. Or I'm going to drag Hussein in and ask him for things again.
Mm.
Okay, with that said, goodbye. Thanks for coming. Thanks for
Bye. See you again next week.
Bye.
Yes. I'm going to shop share.